Hi there, Anna-Marie Lombard here, CEO and founder of Century Intelligence Consulting. Thank you for listening. The fact that you are watching this video means that you are interested in our practitioner's course, which is our Rolls-Royce version of all of our training. I think the one thing that I've spent the most amount of time and energy in, we've been running this since 2012, and it's really aimed at anyone who's in the healthcare profession, who's a therapist, a coach, a psychologist, workplace designers or architects. It's become a hugely interested and a big introduction course for that group of people. But also, if you're in HR or organizational development, any people related industry where you've got some solid background and qualification already and want to add to your toolbox of helping your staff or your clients on a day-to-day basis, this course really is for you. Let me just provide you some context first. The world has got a pause button and it's called COVID-19. So, what happened this year in 2020, possibly the year for the history books that we'll never forget, was that it came and took us by surprise, created huge more stress, anxiety, change, uncertainty, and took the world population who has already been in a very fragile healthcare, mental health, physical health, a well-being state, and just accelerated it to the next level. So I think we possibly are ready to see and to say that the next pandemic is going to be the mental health of the global population. And this is where we play a huge role. From a Century Intelligence point of view, we are healthcare specialists, occupational therapists. We've always worked with people. How do we help people? How do we support people? And I've developed Century Intelligence since 2000. So this is now 20 years working in Century Intelligence, but 30 years as a therapist working with the sensory processing theories. And it's really about your seven senses and your environment. And if we blend these two together, we understand and we maximize them, we can anticipate and manage people's attention, emotion, and behavior. And that's what I'll do in this course. 12 module online course. Yes, it used to be 3 days face to face. COVID also pushed us into change. Pleasantly surprised. The online course means that there's a lot more opportunity to work on the back end with the material, work through it, solidify, retain before we go back into our Zoom sessions. But that's what we'll do. We'll take you into the fundamental theory, science, research, to unpack sensory processing as a methodology. Where does it come from? What is it rooted in? What does the science say about it? What does the research say about that? But then we'll immediately make it a lot more user friendly, simplified, and effective. Let's look at assessment. How do we manage or measure people's sensory thresholds? How responsive are people to their day-to-day environment? And yes, there is a focus on this course on the sensory matrix, which is the tool I've designed. But after struggling so many years working with the adult tools out there and needing to have something that I can use for a client, I'll also introduce other tools for you, but there is a focus on the sensory matrix. But then ultimately, okay, so what? What do we do with this? What is the application to this? How do we help people from a strategy and a day-to-day function point of view? So it's going to be a huge added tool into your day-to-day toolbox, which is really, really important. And I think really simplified to use. Just a bit of a story. I worked with a client many years ago. Was the most fascinating woman to work with. At that stage, she really suffered from depression and anxiety and struggled. She was a mum and also she was busy doing a course through distance learning, but really managed her days quite poorly and often get meltdowns or anxiety attacks. And she was still seeing the rest of her healthcare team, but the stuff that I work with her, like how do you understand and manage your sensory triggers to help you reduce that? And what has happened, I followed her up 4 years after I've worked with her. And I said, tell me, what is the one thing that you do differently now? What are the things that you still remember? And there were two things that really came up, which was so simple yet so powerful. She said, Anna-Marie, I'm buying my clothes differently now. And I'm feeling so much more comfortable in my own skin, the right type of clothing. So it's really powerful. The other thing that she did through going with me on the insights and the learning, she trialed and error and picked out an avocado pear soap. Why avocado pear? I have no idea. but that worked for her. And she would carry that avocado pear soap in a handbag. And whenever she felt really anxious, she would actually take the avocado pear soap, smelled it, and then put it back in her handbag, which made a huge difference. So, just a tiny little bit of a snapshot of millions of examples that I can use that we've actually helped people to identify their sensory triggers, their sensory thresholds, and how do we help them in the moment to cope with what life throws them. But then also how to anticipate going forward what are my needs and what lifestyle redesign should I be making to actually be resilient, improve my mental health and well-being, workplace productivity, and then also relationship. It's a wonderful tool to use for relationships as well. So would love to see you at the other end of the screen. We've got 12 modules online as well as Zoom training. We've run this course since 2012. We've taken hundreds of people through it. It really is worth your while, and I can promise you a really rich and a comprehensive learning experience. So thanks for listening, and hope to see you at the other end of this Zoom screen. So take care, be safe, and speak to you soon.